Hey, how's it going everyone? Atlantis here, and I'm excited to bring you the first video in our weapons guide series where we're going over the inner workings of each weapon type currently in Wayfinder. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the dual daggers weapon type, as well as taking a brief look at the available daggers so far and their unique weapon abilities. This is the first in a series of videos on the way, so if you find any of this helpful, make sure to subscribe, and let's get started. Dual daggers, alternatively labeled as twin strikers, is one of the four main weapon types currently in Wayfinder and has some unique benefits to offer during combat. In general, daggers have a fast speed of attack, which allows you to use light attacks consecutively, much faster than slower weapon types, and you aren't locked into melee animations as long per strike. Daggers have high damage over time and better mobility at the cost of lower break damage. You are still able to do cleave or area of effect damage to multiple enemies within a radius, and through the unique parry system, you are able to parry an incoming attack to not only avoid damage but to strike back with an attack to stagger enemies. You'll need to time your parry correctly as an enemy's attack is about to occur, and most of the time you can either tell by the purple marks above an enemy's head or the telegraph on the ground. Doing so will put you into this animation where you avoid damage, leap into the air, and strike the enemy. This is a very important aspect unique to the dagger's weapon type and can even be used to block specific mechanics of fights, such as the blades and the moving walls of the boss battle called the First. Daggers also have another opportunity to avoid damage through the flourish system, in which you spend combo points to perform a flourish. Depending on the amount of combo points spent, you'll receive a different benefit and placed into an animation that, if timed correctly, can help you avoid incoming damage as well. Lastly, daggers allow you to use the heat of battle mechanic to increase your damage done by consecutively hitting enemies in a combo. With daggers, you are able to reach 300% more damage after 20 hits, which ramps up your damage output significantly. You can see your current heat of battle percentage near the bottom right of your screen. In short, the longer you hit enemies within a small window, the more damage you will do. Let's go over the blade dance weapon mechanic, also unique to daggers. You'll notice towards the bottom right of your screen, you will have a dagger outline, your weapon ability icon, and three diamond-shaped icons. The three diamond-shaped icons are your flourish points, in which you can earn 1 point for every fourth consecutive melee attack. You must make sure to finish the chain of 4 attacks to receive a point. You can then use these points by using your heavy attack input to perform a flourish attack. Using a flourish with 1 point deals moderate damage and grants a small window of invulnerability, while also providing a 15-second weapon power buff. Using a flourish with 2 points deals powerful direct damage, refreshes the weapon power buff, while also providing brief invulnerability. Using all 3 points deals a powerful area of effect attack, also refreshes the weapon power buff, and again providing short invulnerability. The dagger outline is your current blade dance meter, which when completely filled allows you to use your currently equipped dagger's weapon ability, along with triggering the blade dance mechanic, in which all of your weapon attacks hit twice until the blade dance meter runs out. A few things to note here: using 3 flourish points will provide more percentage to your blade dance meter than using 1 or 2. You'll want to use your weapon ability as much as possible, so try not to sit on flourish points for too long, since you can easily build these quickly. When using your weapon ability and triggering blade dance, you'll notice the dagger outline is filled and glowing red and depletes over time. You'll want to maximize your damage as much as you can during this window, as the extra hits provide a massive damage output along with any consumables and your heat of battle meter combined. Lastly, because of your blade dance mechanic, in which you hit an additional time, you'll notice that you build flourish points twice as fast during this window. A popular consumable to go along with dagger builds is that of the purified dragonkin blood, that allows your weapons to do an additional hit equal to 20% of the physical damage done for 60 seconds. Next, we are going to take a look at each set of daggers currently available and their unique weapon ability. While weapon abilities play a major factor in your weapon choice, remember that each dagger comes with its own set of preset stats and echo slot types that could also impact dagger choice to synergize with a specific build. First up is Venom, which was once wielded by Renvi the Rotted, and these poison blades were feared by any who dared cross the Eldrin of the Viridescent Woods. Venom's weapon ability is called Viper Sting, and when used, you perform a leaping stab attack that imbues your daggers with poison for the duration of Blade Dance. Each hit places a stack of poison that does damage over time, and has a maximum of 10 stacks per target. The Viper Sting ability seems to do extra damage if you are able to place your initial stab directly near enemy's location. You can see the poison tick damage across multiple enemies and easily move around to hit enemies and poison them. The leap distance is fairly short, so be careful when initiating to ensure you land the initial stab radius. You can dash out of the animation if you happen to miss. Notable bosses you'll need to farm to craft this weapon include Knight's Maul and the Archon Commander. Next is Knight's Edge, which are ancestral blades of the Deep Eldrin. The spirits of the fallen are bound to these daggers and strike out at enemies. The weapon ability for Knight's Edge is called Daggerfall, which forms multiple magical daggers that fly out and hit nearby enemies. The range on the magical daggers is quite long and they do decent damage on impact. This seems to be a more burst-heavy oriented dagger weapon ability. One thing to note is that sometimes the flying daggers may travel and hit other targets other than your current target. Notable bosses you'll need to farm to craft this weapon include Riven and the Argent Hand. We also have Harvested Moon, which is an artifact buried beneath the ruins in Aurelion, where interesting structures were dedicated to the study of the night sky. The weapon ability is called Light and Shadow and creates a sigil of light and shadow on the ground, damaging enemies. Enemies and allies within the sigil are imbued with either a shadow or a light aura. You, the player, are imbued with both auras, and players deal bonus damage to enemies imbued with the opposite effect. You'll notice your weapons are hand glowing when this is active, and enemies will have an orb of light or shadow above their head. The radius seems fairly small when initiating and seems to only place an orb on about 4 enemies. The damage buff seems fairly large and could be a nice party buff during this ability window. Notable bosses you'll need to farm to craft this weapon include the First and Riven. Lastly, we have Slicer and Dicer, which is a traditional weapon of the Shrike Smugglers, and unlike the other weapons in which you'll need to craft, this weapon can actually be purchased at the vendor if needed. The weapon ability is called Steel Volley and allows the player to spin and throw many daggers in a large radius around the Wayfinder. This is a decent area of effect damage attack, and similar to Knight's Edge, once the daggers are thrown, there aren't any additional effects to utilize. Each dagger weapon ability has its own synergies, while they all take advantage of the Blade Dance mechanic, making sure to keep high uptime on blade dances, keeping your heat of battle meter full, and using parries and flourishes to avoid damage all contribute to the dagger weapon type being a strong contender and popular choice for players. This concludes our dagger type overview, and I'll be sure to cover new weapons and weapon types as they are introduced in the future. If you'd like to stay up to date with all things Wayfinder, make sure to subscribe. I hope this video is helpful for beginning players or a refresher for veterans alike. As always, thank you for watching, wish you all the best, and I'll see you in the next one.